Hey, my name is Pavel. This isn't part of the Caregiver podcast per se, but I wanted to share this with you. Full disclosure, I do work for Bright Star Care as a filmmaker. This is Bonnie. She works for Bright Star. And it's such an endearing situation where Bonnie's son is helping one of our clients or one of Bright Star clients.
My name is Suzanne Lezotte, the author of Raising Owen, an Extra-ordinary Memoir of Motherhood. Today, I am speaking with Bonnie from Bright Star Care, Conejo Valley in coastal Los Angeles. It is the inherent nature of a mother to fight for her child, to take up the sword, to go to battle in the name of love. During the first minutes we found out, the first days, the first year, I think I cried every day. But there's a point where you just say, this is what I was given, and I just got busy and thought I have to figure out everything about this. And I don't know when the transition happened, but there was a point in my life where I just was so blessed to have him as my son. And I can't even point to like a defining moment. I just saw the wonder instead of the disability.
That's amazing. Whew, okay, so you just skipped through like 4 of my questions, my friend, because you are amazing.
Was it scary? Hell yes. To put my life out there, because it's very raw. People may not agree with what I thought or how I raised my child, because we pushed for inclusion. And I really believe he is the thriving adult that he is these days because of inclusion. So I often think about nurture versus nature. You can have a child, but how you nurture them and push them to succeed determines a lot of who they become.
Yeah, absolutely. Giving them those tools for success.
I met my husband, who I was like, I'm going to marry him. I know I'm going to marry him. And it took 7 years before we dated for 7 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And when we got married, we decided after a year that we were going to have a child. And we got pregnant right away. And when we got pregnant, I said to him, do you want a test? Because they're going to ask me, because I was 35 at the time. And he said, well, I don't think our child should have to pass or fail a test before they're born, which I was like, good answer.
You chose well.
So to our surprise, we had Owen. And I talk a lot about it in my book about sort of how the universe came together. And I now see it as a gift from the universe and from God.
So how has Bright Star helped Owen particularly?
The attention that I got immediately when I called Bright Star was like, boom. Okay, we're sending someone to your house. We're going to interview. I was a little surprised, because sometimes you just don't get that immediate, we want to help you, we want to partner with you. And literally within a week, Barbara was out here interviewing us and talking to us about the services that Bright Star offered. But I loved the attentiveness. I loved how quick the turnaround was. And literally within a month, we had someone working with Owen. And that was phenomenal.
I know it's very difficult as a special needs mom myself, that wait time. You have a need, that need is immediate, you want it to happen so quickly, but it doesn't. So that is something at Bright Star that I will very much take pride in, and it is a passion for us to make sure that we can fulfill that need as quickly as possible.
I love you, buddy.
Me too.
It was the attention. It wasn't just you're just another client. It was, let me go back and look and see who I can get to match up with you. Not just let me see who I can throw at you, because I've done agencies where we've had to go through one person after another. So it was more like, let's match the personalities and the people. And that, to me, you know how it is being a special needs parent. It's just everything's a job. The next thing is a job. So having it put it in Bright Star's lap, and all of a sudden I'm receiving what I need in a really efficient way and fast, and just, it really did take a load off my shoulders. So I really appreciate that.
That's wonderful. That makes my heart so happy. Okay, so how has Bright Star helped your family? Not Owen in particular, we'll go to that one next. So how has Bright Star helped your family?
Bright Star has helped my family in the sense that as I said, matching the personality of my son with someone who you thought would work has helped because it's been seamless. Integrating him into what essentially is he's coming into our home and becoming almost an additional person in our sphere. So that's hard. That's putting personalities together. And sometimes you don't want new people in your house, but it worked because you took the time to match him up with somebody who you thought would work well for him. And that has made all the difference. And I think one thing is our family's very comfortable with him. I trust him implicitly, Caden. I feel really comfortable letting him go with Owen on the walks or hikes or whatever they go to do. And his demeanor is really respectful, and that counts a lot in today's society.
That's amazing, and I don't want to cry. Okay, sorry. And I do have to tell you the text message that I got from you about how happy and how grateful you are to have Caden as part of your family. That was...
You're gonna make me cry.
So, because as a special needs mom, I know what is important to me, and I want to present that to other families. So, having Caden, my son, as soon as I saw Owen's paperwork, as soon as I read his dossier, I'm like, oh my gosh, this will be wonderful. Let me match Caden and Owen together, because I knew it would just be a match made in heaven. So, which is when I reached out to you and I said, hear me out. I know this is going to be a little out of the norm for you, but let's meet up. Let's go to Starbucks and we'll have Caden and Owen meet together and make sure it's a match before we get them on a shift. So, and we do that with all of our clients. I take a little more pride with my regional families, but we do that with all of our clients. So it's...
And the one reason I knew Caden was going to work is because after we met Caden, Owen came back and got on FaceTime with his friends with Down syndrome. I was like, yeah, so I'm at, I'm gonna have this guy help me, Caden. He's really cool. You guys should meet him. And as soon as he could get on the phone, as soon as Caden started coming over, Caden met his friends. So it's almost like he had to not only pass the family test, he had to pass the friends test.
Which is great, because we do pride on peer-to-peer or that perfect client matching. So it makes my mommy heart happy to know that this was a win-win for your family, but also for Caden as well, my family.
It has given him an opportunity not only to hang out with a typical peer his age, which is super important, it's given him the opportunity to think about, what do I want to do today? Where would I like to go eat? What do I want to do? Do we want to walk? Do we want to hang out? And hanging out is just as important as doing something physical or going somewhere. I think that so often we dismiss the fact of him hanging out with a typical person gives him that much more opportunity to observe, to communicate, and to understand that this is what young adults do in their 20s. So I think that for me is a relief, because he's not always with his family and his brother and sister. Sometimes it's nice to have somebody outside the family to hang out with and just chill.
What do you hope readers, especially other parents, take away from your book?
What I hope other parents and readers will take away from my book is not only that a diagnosis can happen to anyone, and not just necessarily Down syndrome, but we have all been faced with a diagnosis with a loved one somewhere along the line. Nobody is exempt. What I hope they take away is that, number one, it teaches you something, and there is wonder in it, despite the diagnosis. I think that we need to look at life as, this and that, black and white, happy and sad. And there have been those times along the line with Owen, happy and sad. People always say, oh, kids with Down syndrome are just always happy. No, they have emotions too, and they show emotions, and they mirror the emotions that we do if they're around typical people, which they are. Because life isn't going to be a special needs class. So they need to live and work in our world. Along the way, I stopped apologizing. Whether I no longer felt sorry for myself or sorry for my son, I'm not sure. Either way, it doesn't matter. To apologize continuously was to admit that there was an error, that something was not okay. I know now that is the complete opposite of where I stand today. I have encountered more compassion, more faith, and more love in my life with my son as he showed me the depths of my emotions. I didn't get to take a break from my work with him. It was relentless, persistent, and all-encompassing. Sound familiar? Because it is. Because any mother will tell you that the lessons you learned become the gift. It is the inherent nature of a mother to fight for her child, to take up the sword, to go to battle in the name of love.
We can staff same day for you and your family in as little as just a few hours.
I love you, buddy.
No, too.
We offer in-home skilled nursing.
To caregiving and everything in between.
Give us a call at 805-233-3800.